Hello, and you're most welcome to my channel, my friends. Okay, ghost story time. Tonight's ghost story was told to me by the family of one of my best childhood friends. Her family owned several old houses and countryside cabins in the southern part of Finland. But one of these houses was something special. Oh, yes. It was a large, sprawling two-story house that was probably somewhere around 100 years old. It was a wooden building that came complete with some narrow passageways, several cloakrooms, many small cluttered spaces, and one larger open space with a stage in it. It had served as a people's house at one time in the past, but later it had been converted to part theater, part dance hall. I can remember very well from my childhood how I explored the downstairs rooms, marveling at these old theater props with simple background sceneries that were still left there. Anyway, this was a place where I was told that I should not try and play hide and seek. For sure, this was exactly the kind of place where any child would get an irresistible urge to indulge in that game, but I was warned very sternly against that. I was told that the house was a place where it would be really easy to get lost, and I couldn't get that. I wondered about that. I mean, it was a house, and if we kids agreed to simply play in the first floor, in the ground floor rooms, how would it be possible to get lost in a house? I mean, really? However, no matter how much we kids protested, my friend's parents always seemed to keep a very close eye on us when we were visiting the house. But once, we were sitting down one evening having some dinner when my friend's parents told me that they actually thought there was something deeply wrong with the house. As they went more into the specifics, I learned that there were two kinds of weird occurrences that had taken place inside the house. While staying at the house, my friend's family had quite frequently experienced doors opening and closing by themselves, and sometimes even behind them as they walked in and out of rooms. So to me it almost sounds like some poltergeist activity in the house. Once, a male relative had been visiting in the house, and he had been staying in one of the upstairs rooms. While the rest of the family went outside, the guy had stayed behind for a while, with the intention of joining the others in a minute. However, as he was in his room going through his stuff and looking for something, he suddenly heard the door close. At first he didn't think much of it, but when he tried to open the door, he realized that it was locked, and there was no key in the lock on his side of the door. The door could not be opened from the inside of the room. At first, the guy was simply puzzled and walked to the window, and there he could see the other members of the family through the glass, standing down on the yard. He had opened the window of the room before to get fresh air in the room. So it was the type of window that you lift up to open, and this was what he was planning to do, to open the window and shout down to everyone to come open the door for him. However, this time the window simply wouldn't budge. He tried to lift it with all the force that he could muster, but to no avail. As he started to get nervous and began thinking that there was something really off in this situation, he felt panic rushing in, and he started banging on window glass to get the attention of the people outside. And finally, they noticed the man's plight, and someone came upstairs to open the door. When the door was finally opened, it could again be opened and closed from the inside of the room, totally normally, without it getting locked. And the window in the room actually also slid open with no difficulty at all. Weird, don't you think? Sometimes other types of occurrences happened in the house too. Things seemed to move and shift their position on their own. One time, my friend's family had been staying the night in the house. It was summertime. They had slept in one of the bigger bedrooms upstairs. They had slept through a fairly peaceful night, even though the kids were little. But when my friend's mother woke up in the morning, she noticed that one of the pillows from the bed was missing. It was no longer there, and she could not locate the pillow in the kids' beds either. She kept looking for it, but could not find it easily, so she left it at that and went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. When she later returned to the bedroom to make the beds after her family had all gotten up, she happened to glance up toward the ceiling in the room. And there it was, the pillow, balancing on top of a small triangular-shaped lamp hanging from the ceiling. My friend's mother couldn't believe her eyes, as she could not fathom how the pillow could have been thrown on top of the lamp so that it would have stayed in place and not dropped down right away. As the family tested this later on, it was really hard for them to place the pillow on top of the lamp in a way that it would stay put and not fall down. The lamp was also too high up to have been reached by the children, so they would have had to cast the pillow up there. And of course, it's very easy to understand that by throwing the pillow up there, it's even harder to place it so that it would stay put. My friend's parents both believed that it could not have been the kids who had placed the pillow up there, and they did not believe that it was them either, because they felt that they had slept through a really deep sleep that night. As my friend's mother said, this was just one of many freakish occurrences in that house, and many times these phenomena happened with a number of witnesses around to confirm what had just transpired. So she didn't really have to question her sanity anymore when dealing with things that she could not explain. My friend's family had come to the conclusion that there was an entity of some kind in the house, and they never felt too comfortable spending longer periods of time there. Here you go. This was my story for tonight. Thanks for listening and have a very nice night. I will start my weekend now and relax with the very best and highest of relaxation intensity. Mwah.